The Eskimos call him Nanook, the great white bear, awesome symbol of the icebound Arctic. Almost everyone fortunate enough to see a polar bear sees it in safety, with the bear behind glass or bars. But there is one place in the world where the great white bears roam the streets, dangerously immune to the presence of their only enemy, man.
I like to go out for walks and things, but it's awkward to carry a gun as well as carry the baby. Trying to look after him and worry about bears, too, it was just impossible.
When I wake up at nighttime and I can hear thwack, and they're just pounding. It's really loud pounding. They're pounding with their paws on the door or the wall or something like that.
We're going to have protection in our house, and everybody seeing our gun having protection. It's our army gun. That's my protection.
Interaction between polar bears and people takes some strange turns in Churchill, Manitoba. Fire at the garbage dump becomes a new and alien adversary to a creature of the ice. The polar bear is not really a creature of the land. Most of his life is spent on the ice. A mature male may stand 10 feet high, weigh 1,200 pounds, eat 50 pounds of meat at a time, and run faster than the fastest man. In the harsh reality of the Arctic, he is the largest and most deadly carnivore. On treeless lowlands south of Churchill, an airborne scientist pursues a polar bear in an effort to protect him. Temporarily immobilized, the bear is tagged and identified for future study. In an extraordinary turnabout, a man in a cage becomes the target of a free-roaming polar bear in the wild.
The coldest day of the year. I picked up my bags and I stepped outside and I almost froze up my ears. Well, here I am, I got nothing to lose. I'm in Churchill with the Churchill blues. Well, here I am, I got nothing to lose. I'm in Churchill with the Churchill blues.
Literally at the end of the line, as a local songster suggests, and 1,200 miles north of Chicago, lies Churchill, an isolated Arctic outpost in Canada. A town of 1,100, Churchill's main industry is its grain port, ice-free just 4 months of the year. No roads lead to the outside world. Beyond the outskirts of town lie thousands of square miles of desolation, the barren land of the hostile north. To the east, a frigid sea. In October, the winds of winter sweep down from out of the north. So fierce are these gales that only limbs on the lee side of the stunted trees survive. In the fall, the great white bears migrate northward to meet the pack ice that will be forming on Hudson Bay. Churchill is on their route. For 8 weeks, the Churchill area is invaded by the largest concentration of polar bears in the world. During this time, scientists have an extraordinary opportunity to study the bears. But the people of Churchill face a different challenge. They must find a way to coexist with one of the most dangerous carnivores in the world. To help the people of Churchill with their problem, Manitoba's Department of Natural Resources has created a unique conservation team, a bear patrol on 24-hour alert.
Okay, we generally put these signs up around town, usually on the outskirts of town, right at the edge of the rocks. Because in the past we've had people, especially new people in town, they'll wander down in the rocks. They don't even realize that the bears, they'll come in and they'll sleep all day right in the rocks just behind town. So they just alert them that from here on, you're in prime bear territory. After school, the kids use that back door. They'll try and take a shortcut through the rocks or go and play in the rocks.
People of the town are curiously ambivalent in their attitude toward the bears. On the one hand, they are proud to call themselves the polar bear capital of the world. At the same time, an annual poster contest at school drives home the unpredictable nature of the bears.
I know a way you should go down when you see a bear, but there's a special way. You go down and then you lay with your hands on top of your head and you close your eyes. But I didn't see this in one of the booklets. I seen it on a movie.
But polar bears are always unpredictable. Attacks are usually signaled by snorting or hissing sounds. If you feel threatened and cannot retreat safely to avoid a serious confrontation, stay calm and play dead by dropping to the ground face down with knees drawn to your chest and hands clasped behind your head. It takes great courage to lie still, but resistance would be futile.
Residents with cabins on the outskirts of town are the first to take precautions. Ordinary shutters don't always stop a determined bear, so some owners are driven to extreme measures.
Now I don't want to wake up and have a big bear alongside of me, eh? See those steps here? I was inside the cabin. A bear who wasn't welcome. So I heard the noise outside. So I grabbed a gun. Only the socks on my feet. I went on those nails all the way down. Yes, that's what happened. So I was hospitalized. But I find out it's work anyway. Work on me, why shouldn't work on a bear? Yeah.
Engaged in play, polar bears appear harmless, like giant teddy bears. In fact, no one has been attacked in Churchill since 1968. But with the arrival of the bears, the people of Churchill still grow cautious as memories of past encounters remind them of the potentially dangerous threat. Paul Ratson lives on the edge of town, and he maintains an arsenal of rifles, and a barricade of 2 steel mesh doors safeguards his home.
They pound on the back door sometimes. You just have to watch what you're doing and keep an eye on things outside. I recently had a bear smash the window out of my car, walk around inside my car. I had a dog beat up by a bear. You have to be careful when you go outside. They're around, but they live here too, so.
The threat posed by approaching bears is partly psychological. After a bear attacked her house in the middle of the night, Myrtle DeMel began seeing them in nightmares.
I guess you could call it a phobia that I had. I was always trying to find places to hide my kids. Some of the places were in the little hatch we have to get under the house when the pipes freeze up. I used to squeeze them all in there, or remove some of the tile in the kitchen or the bedrooms and shove them all up there. I don't know why. You always think, there's nothing to it. But when it happens to you and you're face to face with a bear, on your doorstep, I'm telling you, you panic.
A bear surprised John Spence, who was out hunting. For 2 days before rescue, Spence staunched the bleeding with T-shirts. That encounter cost him an arm.
Well, looks maybe he'll hire me. And then the next thing I know, he was standing right beside me. And he stood up and he just gave me a good walk. And knocked me right over to my right. I fell on my right side, then he got right on top of me. He just stood maybe 3 times on it and just mauled me up at the back of my arm here.
Oh.
All that.
The time that I really was scared is when I was down taking pictures. I was focusing my lens, and all of a sudden there was a bear in my lens. Just fit perfect. And so I looked up, and here's this bear, and it was annoyed because it was going like that. You know how they go, you can see their breath, eh? So I just backed off very, very, very slowly.
And so she just came right up through, grabbed the guy by the thigh, and yanked him right down into the den. Being an excitable sort of a fellow anyway, he was pounding away on the bear's head and screaming, and all of a sudden, whether or not she decided she didn't want to eat Brazo in the den, I don't know, but she grabbed Brazo by the side here and just flung him out of the den like that. And the pilot was really on the bit and just wound the machine up and went over, and Brazo grabbed a hold of the skid, and the pilot lifted him away before the bear could get over. With all his heavy winter clothing on, he didn't even get a scar that he could rip his shirt open and tell people all about. And that's really one of the better adventures that had happened.
The polar bear is a marvel of adaptation to life on the tortured terrain of polar ice. His coat, which ranges from light gold to blue-white, provides the camouflage he needs as a hunter. Oily guard hairs, thick underfur, and layers of fat as much as 4 inches thick insulate him from temperatures that can reach 60 degrees below zero and gales which sweep unobstructed across the top of the world. The polar bear uses his incredible sense of smell to seek out his prey. A solitary hunter, he survives almost exclusively on the seal. Usually, the bear waits patiently at a seal's breathing hole. Other times, he approaches from the water. A polar bear can kill an 800-pound seal with one powerful blow or a bite in the head. When food is plentiful, they feed exclusively on seal fat and skin. Pregnant females excavate dens for the birth of their cubs. Totally helpless at birth, they will stay in the den for 3 months. In March, a cub takes its first tentative steps in the unfamiliar world outside. Unprepared for the rigors of Arctic life, the cubs will follow their mother 2.5 years. While they learn to hunt, they will depend on her for food and protection. In most litters, there are 2 cubs. 4 is extraordinary. In summer, ice on Hudson Bay breaks up, forcing the bears into their circular migratory cycle. Set adrift by the thaw, rudderless ships of broken ice carry the bears southward. As their ice rafts melt, they head for land. Polar bears are powerful swimmers. Using their front paws as massive paddles, they have been known to swim a distance of 80 miles in open sea. Fortified with a new layer of fat, the bears eat little while they are ashore. In summer, they mostly lie about to keep cool and conserve energy. In the fall, shorter daylight hours and a cool snap in the air stir the bears. All but the pregnant females migrate northward and go back out on the ice. A migrating bear first encounters chained sled dogs, easy prey for the intruder. At this time of year, the bears are very hungry, but dog meat is not what this bear is hungry for. Churchill is ready. Two bears boldly start toward town, unconcerned by the proximity of man. In response to a hotline call to headquarters, the Bear Patrol arrives at the scene. The officers try to discourage the bears from coming into town by using shotguns with long-range firecracker-type shells.
Sure as hell I'll go into town. Just not afraid of humans anymore. Hopefully we'll try and chase them out towards the dump so that they don't work their way back into town.
During the long months when bears are hunting on the ice, they are solitary creatures. But now they join in ponderous play. Scientists have found that their mock battles follow a rough kind of script. First, they mouth to fence for position. As play continues, the wrestling becomes more intense, more clearly a test of strength. The confrontation ends when one of the bears gives in and runs away. This ritualistic behavior may have a survival value for the species. In months to come, the competition for food and females will be intense. Now, the bears test each other with non-lethal consequences. For thousands of years, many of the bears have followed a route that took them across the land where Churchill is now built. Ignoring a barrage of noise-making shotguns, an elusive polar bear wanders into town. Residents retreat to their houses. Daytime intruders are quickly driven out of town. But at night, the residents of Churchill grow uneasy. No one knows where or when a bear will appear.
Well, when you were shooting at him down there, Hayes turned to come up left. I thought he was going to come back up this way. That's why I went around to get him. Oh, this one will be back tonight, too. So I'll meet you later. You bet. Okay.
During the bear season, Bear Patrol Officer Ken John can never count on sleep.
Oh!
Tracks in the snow revealed the direction of a midnight raid. Bonnie and Dale Dingwall had boarded up their cabin. That did not stop a hungry polar bear.
Probably just passing through and smelled grub in here. Their partner's just wrecked.
The first time was worse than this. So was this the same?
That was, but that wasn't over there. It wasn't like that yesterday when we were out here.
I wonder if they hit anybody else's cabin. It's funny, though, that he doesn't smash a window to get out of a window.
Well, they go out the same way they came in. They're not stupid.
He's cleaning it up. Cleaned it up about a month ago and they came back twice. Not even worth having a cabin.
I just wanted to report that this is the third time in about the last month. Remember, you're out there and you seen my cabin before? Went back out again tonight and it was broke into again, so must be some more bears around there someplace.
Our main responsibility here is to protect the people from the bears, and we also have to protect the bears from the people. We've got a 24-hour around-the-clock hotline where people can call if they have a bear causing problems. First thing we try and do is just scare the bear out of town. Looks like he got through this window. There's quite a bit of hair spread out that he left behind.
The rampaging bear has battered his way into half a dozen cabins and done hundreds of dollars worth of damage.
They can get through quite a bit. And a little bit of stuff that was left in the cupboard here, dried rice. I see some Lipton soup mix that he's chomped on and broken a few glasses. So that's probably what attracted him.
But that window's like 7 feet high. He could get in that high.
Well, if you were 7, 8, or 9 feet high, you could probably get into it. Just depends how big a bear it was and how bad you want it in.
The Royal Canadian Mounted Police are the chief law enforcement authorities in Churchill. But polar bears have no respect for the law.
We're upset. We're upset. Well, that bear had the nerve to hit our cabin this time. No. It'll have to be dealt with summarily.
Faced with nighttime forays on the summer cabins by a problem bear, Ken John sets a steel culvert trap to capture the raider without harming it. The trap is baited with seal meat. While the bears around Churchill are a problem for the Bear Patrol, the concentration of them presents an opportunity for science.
Well, we've been doing mark and recapture tagging programs all over the Arctic.
Dr. Ian Sterling of the Canadian Wildlife Service is one of North America's leading authorities on polar bears. For 11 years, Sterling has conducted studies throughout the Arctic to pin down the range of polar bear populations, their denning and reproductive behavior, and their hunting and feeding techniques.
But Churchill itself is really rather a unique place to be able to work on bears. In the first place, it's accessible logistically. You can get to it. One of the things that we are able to look at here is problem bears, for example. Not just every bear becomes a problem bear. Bears that wander around this town here and take garbage or bother people are almost always subadult animals, the teenagers of the polar bear world, if you like. They're still reliant to a certain degree on scavenging. Scavenging develops into the habit of coming into the garbage dump. That develops into developing familiarity with people, and of course it gets into man-bear problems and bears get killed.
Sterling wants to find out which bears come to the dump and why. He numbers them for future identification.
We don't know exactly why some bears keep coming here and being a problem and why other bears seem to be able to break the habit. Some bears have been problem bears at the dump, and then they just simply disappear and go back to living a more normal life. Mothers that bring their cubs to the dump, for example, are just teaching them the dump habit. Like that female with the 3 cubs we caught the other day. She was first caught here in '67 or '68, and now she's back here with her own 3 cubs, teaching them the dump habit. These bears really get to know what time to come for lunch. You hear that garbage truck dumping stuff just right there, and there's another load just came in there. Now, just like calling the kids for dinner. There's 1, 2, 3, 4 bears right over there walking in to feed on the garbage, even though it's actually flaming and burning. I've seen a bear that's actually, his side was smoking, and from being singed.
In their natural habitat, polar bears may never see flames. They must learn from experience the dangers of playing with fire. The dump is also one of Churchill's most popular tourist attractions. In an unusual confrontation with an older male, an aggressive adolescent, a third the male's size, learns who is dominant. But most of the time, the dump scene is a natural circus.
Was your window open?
No, no way.
Close the window.
Bear paws are wonders of adaptation for life on the ice. When it comes to mayonnaise jars, a Bear Patrol officer checks the culvert trap at the summer cabins. Polar bears threaten with a hiss and a peculiar chomping of the jaws.
We're gonna have to fly this guy out. He's caused some damage here already, so we can't just let him go out of the trap. We'll hold him until one of the biologists comes in that can tranquilize him. We'll have to get a helicopter in to fly him. And then we'll probably release him north of here.
Before the bear can be flown out, he must be immobilized with drugs and removed from the cage. The bear will be flown 30 miles north of Churchill, and experience has shown he will probably not return. However, helicopter deportation of problem bears is expensive. More often, they are kept in holding pens till the bay ice freezes, when they can safely be released. Immobilizing polar bears with drugs has been developed into a safe and effective technique. The bear recovers in only a few hours. The people of Churchill have adapted their lifestyles to the presence of polar bears, but maintaining one traditional children's holiday in the midst of the bear season requires some special preparations.
They're going to be assisting us tonight in the protection of children on Halloween. As you refer to the map, Mines and Resources, one of their trucks stationary at the edge of town, and therefore would be able to observe any bears coming into town. The 3 police vehicles and the 2 private members will be carrying shotguns and .308 rifles. The children will be running around, and some in white costumes, some in clown costumes, whatever, carrying bags of candies and licorices, and we got to look out for them. How's it going, John?
Pretty quiet. Everything's looking good. Kids are running pretty fast in this weather.
How's your visibility?
Oh, I can see down to the end of the street, not too much problem.
Searchlights probe the darkness, and no threat can be seen. But a night viewing device reveals bears looming in the distance. On this Halloween night, the bears range close, but put off by the lights and vehicles, stay out of town. Other nights, the Bear Patrol is not so lucky.
looking right at us. You want the polar bear come and kill us right now? I told that young boy to shoot, eh? Right in the goddamn head, he went running. Just one shot and he took off.
A mother and 6 children alone in their home. A pounding at the door. The storm door shattered. A polar bear thrust its head through the broken frame. The terrified mother grabbed a rifle and fired. Now a wounded bear is loose in the middle of town.
What could you do? What could you do? You gotta do something. This is Army gun, my dear. That's my protection every night. It comes right to my door. Look at that blood here. Come here. Look at that door. Look at it. He come here. He stick his nose up here. We have to protect ourselves. Look at the damage he did.
Oh, that's a little bloody.
Come here. Get out of here, kids. You got no business, kids. Get out of here. Close that door. What could you do when a polar bear hitting your door? There was right in the door. What could you do? You gotta do something. They got 5 kids in the house.
I don't like to see something like that happen. Then when we saw him, well, geez, he was wounded, and we just couldn't let him just run around. So that was the thing to do. We had to shoot him.
When the worlds of man and bear collide, most often it is the bear that loses. In the last decade, conservation officers, much to their regret, have had to kill more than a score of the great beasts. Ian Sterling's scientific interests reach beyond the bears in the immediate vicinity of Churchill. He wants to tag as many of them as he can before they return to the ice. It will be 6 months before he has another opportunity.
We're headed on down now into Fletcher Lake, which is the north end of what we call the Owl River denning area. It's probably the largest polar bear denning area in the world. And we want to continue marking bears down there because in a lot of areas of the high Arctic, there's a great deal of development and exploration taking place, and we may be disrupting some potentially large denning areas. The ice melts in Hudson Bay during the summer, and the bears have to come ashore. And then they slowly move north along the shoreline, looking for, waiting for the ice to freeze up so they can go back out. And hey, there's a set of fresh tracks right down there, right in behind us. Just keep cranking right around, Howard. Okay, they're up here about 2 o'clock. Oh, there's the bear right there. Looks like a fatty. We'll go for that one, Dennis. Here, oh yeah, another pretty big bear. Another 8cc, or do you think, Dennis? No, he went and turned on me just as I shot, and I got him just back of the front shoulder. I got him in the ribs instead. But a big male like that should be okay. It's a good thermoregulating area. Occasionally, a bear, when he's being chased, he gets overheated, and he goes in the water to cool off. And then, of course, if the drug starts to take effect, he's in danger of drowning unless you can get in the water fast enough with him to get him out.
Sometimes bears that are down and seemingly immobilized can jump up and attack. Sterling and his assistant, Dennis Andriashek, are ready to shoot to protect themselves.
Hey! Hey! Hey!
Get an animal like that, and he's just...
Still blinking there on the little...
Oh, that's all right.
He's just
Perfect. He's absolutely perfect. You see the size, he get a bit bigger neck and so on, yeah.
Holy snapper.
He's about as big framed as you'll probably get. See these? See the pads there are sort of like non-skid material, and it's all sort of rough. It's not really smooth. It helps him get better traction on the ice. Opens right up. It's almost like sandpaper. And then, of course, big claws for ripping, breaking into seal layers. But he hasn't started to really chip his teeth. By the time he gets on approaching 20, his teeth will be all full of chips and rings, and the canines will probably be snapped off, and he'll have infections down into the bone.
This 900-pound male has been tagged before, so Sterling knows his history.
Male, 3 years old in 1970, so he's 13 years old now, and he was at the pig farm. We had this fantastic deal with all these bears that we've got around here. Some guy decides at Churchill that he's going to have a new economic venture, and he's going to have a pig farm. So he built a pig farm just right there right in the bush, even about halfway between Churchill and Launch. And then, of course, he was feeding his pigs on big 45-gallon drums full of garbage from the butcher shop and seal meat and whale oil. And the bears ended up eating all of his pigs. And but the bears learn places, of course, and they return by habit, just like they return to the dump. We had the same bears returning to check out the pig farm for a couple of years thereafter. If you watch that animal after he finishes convulsing, you'll see, because he's aware of the fact that we're all around him, and it's a very stressful experience for an animal like a polar bear. After he settles down, and then he'll start doing a couple of deep breaths, and then he'll breathe really nicely, and it'll really... Now, look, here he goes. See how he's breathing there now? You can see, so that even though it looks a little unpleasant to look at him convulsing like that, in fact, it lets off all that stress, and he then is able to relax and sleep the thing off.
Hey, Bear!
The mother has been darted.
Bear! Hey, hey!
Her cub has not. In order to upset the cub less, Andriaszek will try to immobilize it with a hypodermic syringe.
Get back there.
Let me just scratch your ear. Okay. Let me just scratch your ear here. There.
Snap it.
Did you get him?
Yep.
Get you?
No. Park is still good. He's staying really close to her, you know. He's already starting to go down. He's a lot more relaxed. Well, he's out. That was a good dosage.
With the cub down, they measure the mother's girth. The tape they use will calibrate her weight.
Heart girth 112 centimeters, 127 kilograms.
The mother weighs 280 pounds. The bear has never been tagged before. A coated plastic button in her ear will identify her if she is captured again.
What's the number there?
What's the number?
5955.
A radio collar will track her migration. If the collar stays on, the signal can be heard for up to 2 years.
Really cemented into the jaw, and they're very difficult to extract.
Like the rings of a tree, the cross-section of a tooth will reveal the bear's age.
This is for testing for mercury pollution. Mercury shows up in hair quite well, and we're expecting an awful lot more production to be taking place out here in Hudson Bay in the next few years. And polar bears are liable to be one of the animals most affected by that kind of thing, so hopefully we'll be on top of things before they've changed.
He's only 100 and some odd pounds, Dennis, 120.
It is only in the last 15 years that scientists have learned substantial facts about polar bears. Now they understand many of those factors which are crucial to the bear's ecology, but they must learn more if they are to ensure the survival of the species.
While they're waking up and so on, they still have the scent of their mother coming in all the time, and it's very reassuring to them. I'm going to turn her head in a little bit so she's not facing right into the wind.
I'll get this guy's paw.
In early November, a strange vehicle sets out across the roadless tundra toward a remote research station. The Tundra Bus is mechanic Len Smith's new custom-built solution to the problems of rugged Arctic travel. Cape Churchill, the goal of the expedition, lies 35 miles east of town. Many bears the scientists expect to find there may never have encountered man before.
We've got a couple of creeks up ahead, just as bad as the other two are back there. If the ice isn't thick enough, we're going to break through. We might have problems with that one, too, these two.
A journey to the Cape can be treacherous this time of year. Ice over the creeks is only a few inches thick. Weather on the Cape changes almost hourly. The temperature drops towards zero, and gale-force winds whip up clouds of swirling flakes. At the Cape, the scientists move into the research tower. From this height, they hope to observe the undisturbed behavior of as many as 24 bears at a time in their natural habitat. But before the men can stow their gear, curious bears catch their scent and come to investigate.
Hey!
Here he comes.
Guard!
Oh, I'm going in.
Guard! Hey! Hey! Go! Ha! Ha!
He's not terribly responsive to that.
There's another bear out over there. We got it. There's one over here, too, to your right behind you.
The two are coming back over here, back of us. Yeah. Or at least one of them.
Come on down, Dennis. Hey, Dennis, could you come over here? I want to talk to you for a minute.
That's just a big, friendly bear, Dennis.
Each time they descend from the vehicle, they have to open a path with noisemakers. Tagging bears here at the Cape calls for a snare. Otherwise, a darted bear might wander too far away before the drug takes effect.
The bear will be coming in, he'll have a good sniff, and he'll just step right into here. And then the other paw will go right up front. Keep an eye on that bear over there. Oh, here he comes now. Yeah. Let's get out of here.
An aged, lean male comes in first.
Well, he sure came into that trap nicely, though.
He did. That was beautiful.
Just
the
classic.
Caught him so gently. It was funny seeing it take him a bit before he realized he was caught.
That happens often. They're so intent on the bait and back there, they'll step in and the cable gets thrown around their leg. It doesn't tighten up too tightly until they start to struggle, and then it just cinches it up the last little bit, and then they realize they're caught. Once he's down, we'll have a look at his teeth there. It looks like he's got one canine sticking out, and I don't know why that is. Look how that jaw's been broken back. See? Yeah. Some of his incisors are broken. Missing one there. One broke, missing there. The ones in the upper are broken. Still got a few good years in him if he can make through the winter, get enough seals. Teeth aren't too bad. I would guess he's probably in his mid-20s. We have got some bears as old as 30, 32 years. This spring in the high Arctic, found a starving female. She died the day after we'd seen her. And we aged her and found out she was 33 years old. So that's just about the maximum they get. I've had a few other females around that age.
3 hours later, after measurements and tagging, the snaggle-toothed old bear recovers from the drugs. He is less likely to recover from the debilitating effects of his broken jaw. National Geographic freelance still photographer David Heiser hopes to get exciting eye-level pictures of interaction among the bears. This is a unique experiment. No one knows how the bears will react to a man in a cage.
That's okay, I'll knock it off. Okay, is this thing loaded?
It's loaded, but it just shoots blanks. So
okay. I'll just use it in last resort. Also, why don't you give me that hammer? I can use that for protection, too.
Equipped with only a camera, a hammer, and a pistol with blanks, Heiser will have little protection if the bear should attack the cage and it begins to come apart.
Well, I've seen shark cages before in movies, but I've never heard of a polar bear cage. But I guess the idea is the same, huh?
Yeah.
I photograph wolves, coyotes, rattlesnakes, elephants, everything, but you're always up in a vehicle or in a tower looking at the animal. This gets you down on their level, so it's going to be worth it if it works.
Some of the bigger bears may get in there and he'll be sniffing a little, and he'll decide that he may want you, and he'll just probably bite you a little and start dragging you out of there and hauling you off to a more suitable spot.
Oh, he's a beauty. Look at him sniff.
He's a little leery about the smell he's getting, I guess, off Dave.
Okay, here he comes. Come on in, baby. That's it. Come on in. That's good. Easy. A little bit at a time. Get a good smell. That's it. Close enough to go to wide angle. Full frame. Okay, things are getting hot and heavy here now. Over me now, huh? Yeah, you'd really like in here, wouldn't you? He's so big he's blocking out the light. I'm having to open up another stop. What's behind you? Thank you. wondering when you're going to try that.
The bears do not give Heiser the kind of photographs he had expected. Their behavior is all directed toward him and the cage.
Boy, do you have claws. Try shoving it, huh? But they didn't get it off the ground.
That guy's pretty strong. I think we could get a bear out here big enough to turn this thing over. I guess that's why we have a safety belt.
The bears remain fascinated by the warm-blooded creature just inches out of reach. Only after they have been driven off by the tundra bus is Heiser able to get out of the cage. Now filmmaker Jim Lipscomb enters the cage with a motion picture camera.
I don't see the wing nut.
Wing nut's on the little ledge above it.
Thank you. I need that, I think.
I wonder if they know it's a man they're after. Better give him my glove to smell. He wants that glove. They have. Every time I put it near the bars, he goes for it. He's cut his lip trying to get it. If he chews metal, I wonder what he'd do to my hand. This one's got his nose right on the lens. That paw is too close.
The bears will wait patiently another 2 hours for Lipscomb to emerge. Again, they are driven off by the tundra bus.
How was it?
Well, it's very impressive.
It's another perspective, isn't it?
It's very impressive. I'm telling you, those guys want at you. Huh? They want to get at you. And they're very patient about it, and they're very calm about it, and they're very quiet. But boy, you just sit there and you know they're after you. That's really something. Woo! I just feel sorry for any poor sucker. Think of the guys who used to go out across Greenland, you know, and on sleds and everything, and you think, with one of those guys after you, he'd be very patient.
Got in some position where you couldn't defend yourself.
You just come up and gnaw your arm until it's gone.
A storm ends the experiment, but the cameramen have succeeded in capturing unique photographs and film, views of the bears never seen before. Ice continues to pile up on the beaches, and by November 23rd, it is frozen far out into the bay. Most of the bears have left the land. Ken John releases a last troublemaker onto the ice. Churchill has seen the end of the great white bears for another year.
Come on. Oh. Fan. One. Let's go. Come on.
I'm really glad the season's over and that the bears have gone out in the ice, but at the same time, I'm going to miss them. It's been a real successful year. We've only had to destroy one animal. Other years there's been a lot more problems. This year there's nobody hurt or injured, and just to see that bear so happy to be free makes you know that it's all worthwhile.
In the next score of years, few of the world's great beasts, including the polar bear, will survive without the active collaboration of man. Once shielded by the inaccessible reaches of the Arctic, the polar bear is among the last to come under pressure. Scientists like Ian Sterling are providing the knowledge needed for protection of the bears. The rest is up to all of us, a test of man's collective vision and persistence. But the people in Churchill can be proud that on Hudson Bay, the great bears are thriving.
Well, I found myself standing out on the rocks, looking out across the bay. My friends told me if you see any bears, you just let them go their own way. So here I am, I've got nothing to lose. I'm in Churchill with the Churchill blues. Well, here I am, I got nothing to lose. I'm in Churchill with the Churchill blues. Now I'm almost gone and I'm looking back. Can't say that it's been so bad. The things I've done and the friends I've made are some of the best that I've had. So here I am, I got a lot to lose, leaving Churchill with the Churchill blues. So here I am, I got a lot to lose, leaving Churchill with the Churchill